All right. And I am recording TPC 143, July 22nd, 2020, 12 p.m. on the nose. Beautiful. For everyone listening. Yeah. For everyone listening, podcast. It's on because YouTube is a digital gulag and they're censoring everyone. It's available on BitChute, Spotify, Anchor, DTube, Vimeo, VO, Smoke Signal, whatever the fuck you want. It's available. That will be in the top comment. Today's guest. I don't know your last name. I don't know if you feel free to say it or actually, never mind. It's in the bottom left-hand corner. Never mind. Josh Newman, TPC 143. And yeah, you saw one of my posts from Reddit Special Access. And yeah, you were like, sorry about all those guests bailing on you. I was so fucking livid. I had a week where everyone was bailing. And you were like, I could be interesting. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm interesting, but
it was who gives a shit?
What's that?
It said, fuck yeah, you are. Who gives a shit? It's my podcast.
Oh, right.
Interesting. Anyone that doesn't like it, fuck off. Log out. I don't give a shit.
I like your enthusiasm, man, because I was getting anxious, like, working up to this. And I'm like, oh, man, what am I even going to talk to this guy about or whatever? And then I get your text, you're like, let's fucking tango. And I was like, all right, man, screw it. Like, I like the enthusiasm.
Yeah. No, yeah, I've always had people on. They're like, dude, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, I don't fucking care, man. This isn't. I want this to be the antithesis of like, welcome to the nightly show. You've got a new CD coming out. Oh, fuck that, man. Come in. And yesterday's podcast, I started working at a liquor store last week, and they're selling these like daiquiris called Fat Cock, and the puns are endless. And like, you know, whenever girls come up and they're getting ready to go to the beach, one of the guys there is like, all right, ladies, want some Fat Cock for later? Or excuse me, it's like it comes in 3 flavors. They're like, oh my god, it's so funny. And that's literally how yesterday's podcast started out, with the Marine that used to be in George Bush's like security detail at Camp David. Podcast starts with 5 minutes just talking about Fat Cock. So, dog, there's nothing. It can't be fucked up. It can't be fucked up. And when I can't get like a specific guest, I just have my friends on and we make dick jokes for 3 minutes. So, no, dog.
So, how did you get into podcasting, man? I don't know much about your background.
Nope. You know? It's yeah. When anyone ever asks anything, I realized this morning actually I need to make like an FAQ video because I have so many people are like, what is going on? I'm 29 years old. Got into medical school in 2013, graduating from the University of Georgia. Really was not happy. Took 4 years of my life to do it. Very proud of it. Just was not happy with life. Was like, I don't think I can do this forever. Couple months after I graduated in April 2014, I lost my oldest sibling to suicide. And then that just threw me for like a 2-year loop of just whatever you can imagine, just existential void, black hole, gained a bunch of weight, turned to every substance I could get my hands on, somehow didn't die. And 2016 was like, man, my life's heading off the rails. I went from being like chiseled like Captain America, getting into med school to like, you know, I looked like Jack Black. I had long hair. I was fat. I was angry at everyone. It was just like, dog, I was heading towards a black hole. So moved home with my parents up in Maryland. And for a couple of years, just kind of got my life back on track. Taught myself graphic design. Like that. Started online graphic design school. And then in December, I was just like, man, I've been listening to Rogan since his podcast was about 6 months old. And I was just, it kind of dawned on me. I was like, I can fucking do this. And it was just like, I can do this, man. I listen to audiobooks I mute video games and listen to audiobooks every day. So man, I've got like thousands of hours of just information in my head. I can talk to people. Like you said, let's fucking tango. And I can make people relax. And I was just like, one of my best friends was like, dog, I've known him since 5th grade. He was like, dog, you've been doing podcasts your whole life. You just haven't recorded them. He was like, I just watch you talk to people. And I was like, Matt, you're a genius. I'm fucking doing it. That's where we are now. 7 months, December 12th, 2019. So a little over 7 months. Here we are, episode 143.
Are you where you wanted to be? Are you, I don't know if you had or set like any goals or expectations, but
I have every intention to, whether it's getting into med school or whatever, I've put my eyes on the highest possible level and try to achieve it. So I have every intention of making this the best podcast it's ever been. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, I remember looking at med school and was like, man, I'm gonna score in the top 5 percentile in the MCAT. People are like, dog, you can't do that. Like the MCAT is the destroyer of worlds, the medical college admissions test. I was like, just start studying 9 months ahead of time. I did it. Scored in the top 4 percentile. Fuck everyone. So yeah, 7 months
Fuck
in.
everybody, do what I want.
Exactly. So 7 months in, I'm happy with where it is in that like it's fun as fuck.
Yeah.
But I'm not happy in that it's a good thing. Like I don't like getting content. So like right now, 473 subscribers. Yeah. 473 subscribers, 143 episodes. Very proud of it. But I'm constantly looking at like what's next. What am I getting next? I want to get to a point where I can live off of it. To me, that is the success beyond description. If I could make a living by let's fucking tango, that's all I want. And thank you for asking.
Catchphrase right there.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for asking that. I'm actually just gonna edit that. I'm just gonna snap that one bit, and that's gonna be the FAQ video. So,
okay. Yeah,
thank you for that. Save me some time. 2 birds, 1 stone. But yeah, man, I just like I said, started working at a liquor store, man. I had one guy showing me around yesterday, just teaching me about all the wines and shit. I was like, hey man, you want to do my podcast? Talk about wine? He was like, yeah, sure. I was like, no, I'm serious. And he was like, all right, let's do it. That's what it is. It's just, yeah.
Dude, I admire that. I find it scary as all hell. And, I was almost like you. I listen to Rogan too. I'm a huge fan. I still listen. I took a hiatus for a little while. I kind of felt like it was not going downhill. But if you listen to somebody for too long, they start repeating themselves. Yeah. And I can, what I mean?
It's not their fault. You just.
Yeah. No, it's not. But yeah, man, I've been teetering about possibly starting a podcast as well. Just almost kind of like this. But yeah. So your enthusiasm and yeah, it's kind of making me go that route. So, but dude, man, that's awesome that you kind of, however you did it, pulled yourself out of a dark place.
I would say it's my parents. I'd shout out to my mom and dad. I could not have done it without them. I think I'd be dead face down in a ditch without them.
Right. Kind of threw you a bone and took you back in. It was like, come on.
Yeah. So shout out mom and literally down. I'm literally in their house. Shout out mom and dad. Yeah. Yeah.
No, dude, I get it. I didn't lose a family member, but when I got back home and out of the Marines and stuff like that, man, I went through a couple of years too where it was pretty dark, and I was hitting the bottle pretty hard and stuff like that. It was just me and my dog, and kind of toxic relationships and stuff like that. And dude, it was like 2014 when I kind of started to get my shit together, and I was living like this cabin, but in like above this garage, just me and my dog up in the woods. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. And then I started doing some LSD a little bit. Not a ton of it, but man, it was a humbling experience. Like, and it really like kind of helped me work through a lot of the demons. Dude, And I credit pot and LSD for really helping me through some of the dark times, man. And so now I'm a family guy. I've got 4 kids and a wife, like doing well in life, bought a house and everything. And it's like, damn, I was almost dead like 7 years ago or whatever. Dude, here I am. So
day after I graduated, do you hear that? Do you hear that high pitched noise? Is that just me?
I think that's you. I hear it.
All right, I'm just going fucking crazy. But
right, maybe you, too much audio.
Yeah. I was guess in 2013, dude. Day after I graduated, I was just like so like not happy with like what I was doing. Yeah. Like I said, very proud. Was like I'm straight A's 4.0. I was just deep down. I was like, I know I'm not happy. And I remember seeing this image, and I had it as like my background. One night, it was like one of my last days of college, and I was just like, I got way too high one night after the bars. My friend were just like taking bong rips. I remember laying in bed, and it was just like one of those uncomfortable, like I'm way too high, I can hear myself.
Right.
And I remember seeing this image, and it was a quote from the author Maya Angelou, who I think is a famous author. I don't know anything about her, but it was there's no greater agony. No, the greatest agony known is bearing an untold story. And just like, what if you don't go for it? And I was like, it was like a fucking woodpecker on my soul. I just couldn't get that out of my head. It was just, it's almost like Jumanji. It didn't matter. I could close the laptop. It was like, and I was like, fuck. And so I was always like scared shitless of the idea of like psychedelics. I, hook, line, and sinker was like, you're gonna jump out of a top floor building, and next thing you know, you'll be doing heroin. Just the fucking
yeah, the reefer madness of
exactly, dude. I would have been, they would have been proud of me in the '60s. I would have been like, don't do that. But like, finally, like, I had this friend named Ryan who was one of my lab partners at UGA, and he was like the antithesis to me. I looked like a fucking skinhead. I'm built and was just like always studying. He's like long hair, he lives in Colorado now, and he was always just like, anytime you want shrooms, man. I was like, shut up, Ryan, those are drugs. And finally, like the day after I graduated, I was like, it just all hit me, and I was like, I need some like outside intervention. I texted him.
Yeah, like, hey, a little escape from.
I was like, hey, dog, can you give me some shrooms? And he got me some. Came back, me and one of my best friends, and I was like, hey, man. And I tossed him the bag. He was like, I'm proud of you. And so we went up to his lake house in North Georgia. It was like December. Actually, weird enough, this was the day 7 years to the day that I started the podcast before. And we went up there, took some shrooms, man. I sat in the fucking field on a sunny day in December. But it's Georgia, so it feels great. I just sat there for 7 hours and was just like, man, I'm not happy. But kind of what you were saying, it was and then an LSD experience is 3 years later is what led me to like basically pick up the phone and call my parents and was like, I need to move home. Because it was like, so that first one was like, I'm not happy, and that gave me the guts to turn down a med school acceptance. 3 years later, it was like, hey man, you're heading towards the abyss. Like, you are not far away from suicide. And it was just like, you can't, when LSD starts talking, you can't just shut it out. It's like, hey. Yeah. It's like, so like the next morning, picked up the phone because I knew once I said that to my parents, there was no coming back. I couldn't be like, oh, I didn't mean it, sorry. I knew that once I said it, it was like shooting up the flare. And as soon as I told them that, like an hour later, I was like, fuck, they're gonna come get me. But like, it was the right thing. They came and got me, and that's honestly probably why I'm alive right now. But some people bat their LSD, shrooms. I'm like, dog, you take it the right way, it's change your life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I did it when I was a kid, a teenager, but I mean, back then it was, fuck it, I just want to party. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. But now, and I haven't done it in, years, but I look at it as like a tool. You know what I mean? You don't need a hammer every day, but sometimes you need it,
Alan Watts, once you get the message, hang up the phone. You don't need it anymore. Once you get the message, hang up the phone. Or
exactly.
Terrence McKenna, what the telescope was to astronomers and what the microscope was to biologists. LSD is just another tool for examining at a closer level. And once you see the thing you need to get, you can put the tool away. I haven't done it in 4 years. I don't think I need to do it for a while. It's not something that, oh, you're going to be addicted to it, man. Nope.
Right. Yeah.
Take it once, see what you need to see. You're like, got it, thanks, good. You can bail. Dude, you need to do it, man. There's another guy I had on here, David Libby, who's a Air Force, he was a base historian at Holloman Air Force Base for the F-117. And and now he was saying like the first time he came on, he's a homesteader now. And he was like, man, I might make a podcast. I was like, dude, just fucking do it. He's like, oh, I don't know if I want it. I was like, just do it. He finally did it. I made like a how-to video. I'll send it to you. It's it's episode 123. It's like a 20-minute. I literally just screen recorded what I do because it's the most basic thing. If you want to get into like complex editing, and I don't know, I can't help you. I'm too stupid for that. But in terms of like the sort of Rogan format of just upload a conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems pretty straightforward.
It's fucking simple as shit. I've learned through my own baptism by fire. But you can take my advice now. It's easy, dude. You just gotta start. Just start.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take your advice. And
this will be your episode 1.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe I'll piggyback off you.
You will, man. No, fuck it. You can download it from YouTube, man. You can download the video and just upload it. You can upload episode 1. This is it. Who gives a fuck what it's about?
Do you find it therapeutic?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it is.
I haven't seen a lot of your episodes. Like I said, the first one that got me familiar with you was the B-21 Raider, which at some point, man, I wanted to talk to you about that. But yeah, I almost seemed like it would become therapeutic at some point.
It has helped me more than I ever would have predicted. I was 215 pounds when I started. I'm 193 today. So dude, and I say this all the time. It's because if I want to have a guest on, I got to be well rested. If I don't get my sleep, I'm a little fucking bitch. I get bad temper. I can't think straight. If I don't exercise beforehand, I'm foggy and I'm not interesting to talk to. If I just, on my time off, if I'm just playing video games, I have nothing to talk about. But what I do is I mute it. Right now I'm listening to Shadow Factory, the ultra secret post 9/11 NSA by James Bamford. Something I would never in a million years sit down and read. But if I can just drive around in Grand Theft Auto and shoot people and listen to a book, I'll do it for. Dude, I listen to probably 70 hours of audiobooks a week because that allows me to talk about shit. You know, I'm a biology major, but I'm able to do a B-21 Raider podcast. I got to meditate. I used to meditate all the time in college. After I lost my brother, like I said, went way off the rails. But that's what I finished meditating, texted you. That's what I always do is I meditate right before the podcast. Just sort of, because like you said, little anxiety building up to it. Dude, I still have anxiety before every single podcast. And it's so I meditate for 20, 30 minutes and it slows me down. And then all of those things, so I've tied into all of those. It's like, okay, well, where does weight loss come in? Well, weight loss is just sort of like a secondary effect. Because once you're doing everything else right, going to bed early, sleeping, meditating, listening to once everything else is like shiny and perfect, the only thing left to contrast it is like health. So if everything else is great and then you got a belly and you can barely see your dick, you're like, well, shit, I'm knocking everything else out of the park. So yes, dude, therapeutic as fuck. It's so awesome. It's so helpful.
Yeah. Have you tried intermittent fasting? Because I ballooned up to let's see, when I got out of the Corps, I was about 180, and then I ballooned up to like 262. I loved beer and food, and I didn't want to work out anymore.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is bullshit, and I was depressed and all that stuff. And then my daughter was born a few years ago, my youngest daughter. And I was like, man, I got to get my shit together, you know? So I started walking because my knees are kind of shot. So I do like 3-4 miles a day, sometimes 5 if I'm feeling crazy.
I walk a mile, dude. I can't run. My knees are fucked up.
Yeah.
Speed walk.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to keep it around like a 15 and a half minute mile pace. And I'm like, okay, that's like moderate or whatever. And then I started, I cut out pop. And then I kind of started a quasi intermittent fasting and just kind of keeping an eye on calories. And now I'm down to my lowest I was at was 213. I'm at 219 right now. I ballooned up a little bit again during the winter, but
it's it's not a straight path. It's a general trend. Like I'll go up a couple pounds down, but you gotta I keep track because I'm fucking psycho. I keep track on like an Excel spreadsheet, and I just check it every day because that's how you see trends. So don't freak out if one day you're 4 pounds heavier or something, and it's like
no, I don't. And I try to, when I think about how much weight I have lost, I try to. It's hard for me to think about it. So I'm like, okay, what can I relate it to? So I think of like bowling balls. I'm like, okay, I've lost essentially like 3 15-pound bowling balls. I'm like, that's pretty freaking awesome.
I saw someone comment that on Reddit forever ago. Maybe it's fucking you. But someone was like, what I do is like I just image it as a bowling ball.
Honestly, I think that's probably where I saw it from too.
Okay.
I don't think it's the original thought.
Yeah. So, but it was 15-pound bowling ball. It's like, oh whoa, okay.
Yeah, you can visualize it.
Yeah. And like it's therapy. It's helped me in everything, man. And it's just, I don't know. There's something you get out of like creating your own thing, no matter how shitty it is, that you can't get out of consuming something. It's like you know, it's like you see those like you see those people that live in like Alaska by themselves, and they've got like a little fucking shitty hut built out of like moss and logs, and you're like,
Yeah.
man, what the fuck is this? They don't have an iPad, they don't have carpets, they don't have
They don't
AC.
get
What are you
peace.
doing? But you look
Yeah.
at them, and it's just like you just see peace in their eyes, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like you can, you know, you can. I don't know, you can fucking you can turn on the heater and it's all right, whatever. But if you ever gone outside and like not even chop wood, for me, it's like when I go to like my parents' lake house, I just go bring up some wood from the basement and you throw it on the fire. Even that,
Yeah.
I'm not even chopping it and transporting it. My dumb ass is just bringing it up a flight of stairs. But even that is
Yeah.
infinitely better than the heater because it's like I did it, I did
Yeah.
this, and
Something primal about it.
it is.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of just that like sort of awe you get just sitting and like staring at the fire, and it's just some weird, yeah, primal like satisfaction. That's what this is, man. It's screen recorded. Everyone's like, you need this software. I'm like, I don't fucking shut up. And it's, you know, you
Yeah.
need to put it in
Maybe at some
8K.
point you will.
Yeah, when it makes money. Yeah, but like right now, it's like a screen recorded, 720p, whatever. You know, I got a microphone sitting on top of a GPS box recording it. Like
Right.
it's right next to it. I've got a big TV, play video games while it's processing, upload it. You need a fancy thumbnail. And no, I just put it on fucking text on a black screen because I see all the other thumbnails on YouTube and it's all. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they've got like a weird like white outline, they all have their mouth open, and
Yeah.
it's just I'm like, I remember when I started the podcast, I was like, so help me God, if I ever do that, I want someone to shoot me in the back of the head.
Right.
I will do everything else. I'll do
Yeah.
keywords. I'll do so if I ever fucking do. Point being, creating your own thing, no matter what it is is awesome. I mean, getting an email from you, it's like all these guests bailed, and it just opens up. Hey man, saw your podcast. It's like, but that happens so much where it's like if you keep pushing, some shit breaks, but then other things, it's the weirdest. Not to get all LSD, it's the weirdest like synchronicities and like, you know, door closes, window opens. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Do it. You got to do it, man. Just fucking do it. Just start.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And again, you don't. For me, I don't. You're in my phone as Josh Special Access. So I'm like, all right, Josh, Reddit Special Access. But the podcast can be about anything. We can talk about fucking LSD and man titties for 20 minutes. Who gives a shit? Do whatever the fuck you want, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
You know, hey, shout out to Special Access real quick, man. That's a pretty good group.
I love that subreddit.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Me too, man. It's like, yeah, it's just a bunch of like-minded people, man. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't get political or any of that shit.
Nope.
Like it's
the moderators are like, they have no tolerance for any of that. They're like, fuck out of here at that. You can't even swear there, and I hate it because I'll be like, fuck this, and like,
yeah, it's tough for me not to do that.
Yeah, it's very hard for me, but I'm always like, you know what? This isn't my subreddit. I didn't start this. This isn't mine. And it's, I love that place, man. They're cool as shit. I always message them before I post like my podcast. And I'm like, hey, because any other subreddit, I'm like, man, fuck all you. I hate Reddit. I'll spam where the fuck I want. But like Special Access, I'm like, hey, dude, can I post this here? Is it cool? They're like, yeah, that's fine. You know, spam it all the time. They're cool as shit, man. And it's, yeah, so right before we started, or right before I meditated, I just seen it on YouTube on Lockheed Martin's page. It popped up, I mean, within an hour ago. And it said directed energy now is the time for laser weapons is now. They just posted this, and I didn't even watch it. I was just like, I got so excited, and I posted it, but we're going to do this. But they just posted a thing about directed energy weapons, and I'm excited.
I like the idea of it, but man, I'm sure it works, and it's a proven technology, but I mean, I question how reliable it is. I don't know. Just having been in the military, man, like I grew up almost, you know, putting the military on like a godlike pedestal. Like I always wanted to be in the military. I loved it. Like everything war. Like, and then I went in and I'm like, man, like it's the equipment sucks. Like it's you know, communication is lacking. And don't get me wrong. Hey, I love the Marine Corps. I'm happy I was, but it's a goat road sometimes, man. And it's, so, you know, when I think about, technology like that, I'm like, I don't know. I wonder how much of it's kind of propaganda-ish,
Mhm.
and how much is actually, how well does it actually work?
It,
So
it,
I don't
it
know.
yeah, it seems like there's always like it's like a leading edge almost, and like you have to push that because it takes forever to like fall back down to the rest of the military. It's if it's
Yeah,
not broken, don't fix it. You know,
right,
U-52, put some new avionics in it. If
right.
why update the plane when we can just update the missiles?
The platform, yeah, and standoff weapons,
Yeah,
and
go
yeah,
go from dumb bombs to fucking hypersonic stealth, glide vehicles. Who cares, man? You got a lumbering thing, just keep it going. But
yeah,
you also you do gotta keep pushing it. You gotta, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some probably. I mean, it's a defense contracting company. They're trying to
yeah,
sling that contractor dick. We got this directed energy weapon. Fuck bullets, but
right,
it also, you know, that can fail.
yeah,
Bullet guns don't need batteries,
sure,
right?
yeah, yeah. Well, and it almost makes me think of remember back in January when Iran retaliated
Yeah.
and kind of lobbed a couple of I don't remember if they were Scuds or just whatever missiles they had. And we were talking about our air defense system and something like that, the Patriot.
Uh huh.
Man, I really don't know. I really feel like we'd be caught off guard. I don't think it's as quick of a reaction as we think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
that's what
not.
yeah. So I hate it when I see people get a little too gung ho, because I'm like, easy. Like,
Yeah. It's was it. By the way, if you can't tell, I never shut the fuck up. So you gotta come in. You gotta throw elbows and cut me off because I get too excited.
no, I know.
Yeah. It's I think it was Richard Bissell, who was like Eisenhower's like hatchet man.
Mhm.
I remember he said I think they almost, I think it eventually fell out, but I think they were like planning to go to Russia and almost like, or Soviet Union, like 50s, and almost be like, and my history could be butchered, might have happened, an open skies policy where they were like, let's let each other do overflights because they said that is more stabilizing. Like when they would overfly like China, and they were like, and you'd go out and you'd see all these like missiles and shit and nuclear facilities, and then you realize like they weren't putting them away, and they're not stupid. They know we're up there. They want us to see them, and it's not like a gun on your hip, like you see this shit, bitch.
Right.
But instead, it was
Yeah.
like we're not hiding anything, and because of that, the fact that they hiding an AK-47 would have been more destabilizing than not hiding a nuke, because by not hiding it, it's like, yeah, look, we're strapped, we can nuke you, but we're also not hiding it. So it has a stabilizing factor where but one of the things is missile defense, where it was like missile defense could almost be destabilizing because
Right. Yeah.
mutual assured destruction works on the
Yeah.
idea that
It
we're
works.
all going to be a cloud of ionized gas, right? It's,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I just, and then when you see the build up to the B-21, and as much as they're talking about it, which is fucking crazy to me, and I know you talked about before.
Really weird.
Yeah, it makes me hope that it's almost like a red herring or something like that. We actually have, I don't know, we have fucking Tic Tacs, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. Like that's what I hope. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So
yeah,
when you see Commander Fravor talking about, I don't know what the hell that fucking
yeah,
thing
yeah,
was.
yeah,
Hopefully, it's some secret DARPA thing, or
yeah, yeah.
So
What a brilliant episode that was. Fucking Commander
well,
Fravor on Rogan. Holy shit, dude.
yeah, yeah.
Did you
He's
did
the
you
real deal, man.
did you listen to the whole thing?
Yeah, yep. And
Dude,
I listened to him too on the Fighter Pilot podcast as
I
well.
gotta listen to that.
And,
I keep having people reference it on here. I'm like, I need to get my shit together. I need to listen to it.
yeah, dude, yeah. It's a shout out to them too. It's a really good
Shout out
podcast.
Fighter Pilot podcast. It's
Yeah,
but the thing that got me about Fravor is like, yeah, the Tic Tac is fucking like, it's definitely one that you gotta sit down and it's like you can't just look at it like, man, that's crazy, and then just go back to looking at memes. It's like there's something where
right.
it's like, whoa, 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 what? Wait,
Hmm.
what? And it's like,
Yeah,
what was the other thing you said about the East Coast? They got like there's some military acronym for it, but it was like fuck. It was like a warning to all pilots, and it was like, hey, just heads up,
yeah,
these are out there and you might crash into them. So, be on your toes. And it's crashing into what? Well, it's these little transparent cubes inside of balls.
Yeah.
What? It just, okay, oh, you got it. And what's for lunch? We're having bologna. And it's like, what the? It just, sometimes I feel like I'm in the Truman Show because I'm like, is no one else seeing this and like freaking the fuck out? Or is that just,
Yeah.
is that your brain taking care of you? It's just like, chill,
Right.
chill, boobs,
Right.
football, just chill,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I don't know, man. And then it's also weird to me too that the government's talking about it. When historically, haven't they always kind of been
doesn't exist. Shut
yeah,
up.
you know what I mean? Project Blue Book or whatever. Hey, the whole objective of this is to debunk as much as we can, blah, blah, blah. And so it's weird. So, and then, was it the Intelligence Senate Committee or something like that just came out and said, hey, listen, we put in the budget that we want reports on UAPs and blah, blah, blah from, Department of Naval Intelligence or whatever it is. But they didn't mention the Air Force. The Air Force was not mentioned in that at all.
Really?
Which, yeah. I mean, hey, if somebody else finds it, cool. I'll, eat my words. But I didn't see the Air Force mentioned anywhere in there. And I'm like, they're being pretty mum about it too. So what the hell? Maybe they know something and they're testing something. I don't know. I hope that's what it is. Or if it's fucking aliens, man. It's kind of neat, but I don't know.
I'm hoping. We talked about this a while ago. That's another reason you need to start your podcast, man, is you're going to start and you're going to be like, oh, I only have one episode. I swear to God, I blinked my eyes and I'm like, like the podcast tutorial. That was when I was saying to you earlier. I was like, that was 123. That was 20 episodes ago. They just go by. So just start and they'll build up. But so me and my friends were talking about one of the guys, JP, who is a drone operator, still is, I believe. We were talking about, we're like, doesn't it kind of seem like 2020 is just like what it is it's foreplay for aliens? Because before this year, the aliens just showed up on the White House lawn. It'd be very much like Independence Day. Everyone freaked the fuck out. Shit's hitting the fan. It's David. Why did I just tell my mother to go to Atlanta? David. But it's
there's no David in hiding.
Yeah. It's what am I doing? I need to call my lawyer. But it's fuck my lawyer. But it's shout out that guy.
Yeah, you gotta finish it, man.
Yeah. But it's like with you can't start with that one. But with 2020, it's like what I described it as is like, I mean, I used to work at bars at like in college, and every once in a while I'd see like one of my friends with like a girl that was like way out of his league, but it made sense after I started working as a bouncer, and I would be there sober, and I would examine the whole night and watch the whole night unfold, and it would be like, oh, like if you went up to that beautiful girl and were like, hey, do you want to get out of here? It would. I'm sure that's politically incorrect now. How dare you have sexual tension? But like, no, it wouldn't work. But you're at a bar, it's dark, everyone's drinking, there's music, you're playing, you guys are being funny, you're go get a bite, whatever. And it's hours go by, and now all of a sudden it's like they're going to an after party together, and it's like that, like what was that? That's crazy. That just kind of that evolved to this point. I look at 2020 as like you're even late 2019. It's like, it's like we have Notre Dame fire. It's like, that's crazy. You get crazy wildfire. Goddamn COVID. Like, holy shit, world shutting down. Fucking murder hornets, India and Pakistan going at it with each other. Pentagon, there might be UFOs. Just put it under the rug. Like,
casually throw that in there.
Yeah, just casually just drop that. Just going on, blah, blah, blah. We're doing this. And it's, as more and more time goes on, now I feel like if they're like, there are UFOs, you just be like, fuck it. Sure. Why not?
Of course there are.
Yeah. It's the hot girl, hanging out with my friend that normally any other time, now it's like, yeah. Almost August, we're in for a new thing, right? It's, I don't know. Favorite. So, but what did you think about that thing you were saying about that massive object coming out of the water, the USO?
So, full disclosure, I've always loved the thought of UFOs. I've always been the I want to believe guy, but I've always been kind of rational about it too. Like I feel like you know, 50% of it's bullshit,
Mhm.
40% of it is misidentification, maybe 10%, you might be onto something.
Mhm.
Um, so I always thought that UFOs, just the idea of them were kind of neat, not really scary or anything. For some reason, the thought of something in the fucking water submerged that we have no idea what it is, that could be hiding anywhere, scares the shit out of me, man. I'm like, wow.
Terrifying. That is
Yeah.
terrifying.
I don't know why I can handle UFOs up in the sky, man, but you put them down in the water, I'm like, all right,
That's
you
all.
know?
That's just a whole different form of, yeah. Just nope,
Yeah.
nope. Fuck that. Nope.
Yep. So I don't know, man, unless it's some crazy ass submarine-esque thing that releases these tiny reconnaissance
Torpedoes.
drones or
Yeah.
something, but why the hell they would shoot up to 80,000 plus feet, and then back up.
But
I don't know, man.
the
I
US,
have no idea.
yeah, that one's creepy because it's like, I mean, I guess once you get to alien technology, all bets are off. You could be like a teleported, but
But,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna try
we
to.
don't know what we don't know,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, unknown unknowns. Shout out Donald. Actually, no, fuck Rumsfeld. But
there you go.
Rumsfeld, you can come on here. I don't care. Um,
Yeah.
but
I mean, fuck them, but yeah, come
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. USO implies fuck them, but you can come on here. I love you.
Right.
I hate you. The USO implies though I almost think it's like War of the Worlds type stuff, where it's like they're like they've been here. They've been here the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, well, that would almost kinda correlate with what, Bob Lazar was telling,
Yeah.
George
Bill
Knapp
Butler.
and,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan about them being archaeological
Logical
dig,
digs.
So
Plot thickens.
that's fucking nuts,
Yeah. That's just
so
like another like, huh? Like it gets
you know, so I've known about the Bob Lazar story since, I don't know, probably like 95 or something. I'm 35, so I was born in 85. That gives you a reference, but
I'm 30, almost 30. 30 in August.
yeah. And there's something about that guy that, god damn it, I believe him. And I don't know what
So
it
do
is.
I, and I hate it, but
I
I do.
Yeah, and I know that some of his educational records and stuff like that is questionable.
MIT, yeah.
I know that, but then I get that goddamn conspiratorial side of me that goes, well, easy. I mean, that's the government covering it up and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
so, but I don't know, and I'm not smart enough to know if he's bullshit or not. But goddamn, he's believable to me,
He's,
and maybe too because George Knapp is
mhm,
really, I mean, for 30 something years has been by his side and
yeah.
backed him up. Like, and I really respect him. I think he's a no bullshit,
Yeah.
guy. He will say, no, this is a load of fucking shit,
Yeah.
and no, this is questionable.
He,
So, anyway,
he's,
I don't know.
he seems too he seems too bored for me to like think it's fake. Bob Lazar. He seems
Yeah,
too like
yeah,
he really does seem someone that's just like it's been 30, 40 years and he's just telling this story and he's like, yeah, like this happened. Like if you see something crazy and like the story is like now when people ask me, they're like, why'd you start a podcast? I'm like, well, I got into medical school and then I lost my brother to suicide and then I took a bunch of LSD. It's an insane story, but it's like it's so true that I've told it so many times. I'm just like, I just rattle it off real quick. I'm like, yeah.
yeah,
That's what he seems like. He's almost just like he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, there are these weird things, flying saucers, 9 hangars, S4, Papoose Lake. Yeah, anyway, he just seems he's just kind of bored with it. Like, right?
yeah,
And he's really fucking smart. He's really
yeah,
smart. He's
yeah,
just so
yeah.
I had on actually I don't wanna I gotta go piss. Do you mind talking for like 30 seconds? Just to fill that. I want to edit it out.
Yeah. Hey
So
man, I go pissed. Um, yeah. Fucking Bob Lazar, George Knapp. I feel bad he's not here to say anything back, but the Jeremy Corbell, I kind of don't like the fact that they got intertwined with him, and now Jeremy's kind of telling the story. I'm sure he's not a bad guy. I just his taste and his style is just not really my thing. And he came out with that documentary about Bob Lazar and the Mickey Rourke voiceover. I couldn't take it seriously. Even though I can get behind the Bob Lazar story. So yeah, I don't fucking know. It's wild, and I hope that someday we actually figure out what the hell went on. Whether or not it's proven that he's bullshit or not. I just yeah. So
Yeah. So like,
sounds like you're back. So
so
when you were gone, I was telling whoever, I was like, I the whole thing mystifies me essentially, and I probably sound like an idiot talking to myself, but it I don't like the fact that they got intertwined with Jeremy Corbell. And I'm not, and I hate to say that because I don't want to. I'm not judging the man. I'm sure he's a nice guy,
seems like a cool dude.
and yeah, and I like what he's trying to do. I just don't like his style or his approach to it, and it kind of turns me off.
I think he's trying to make a name for himself, which hey, that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I
it
don't
takes
blame
away
him
from
for doing.
yeah. I think it takes away from Lazar because it's
Yeah,
like how much is this guy trying to, which I get, he's trying to build up his company, he's a filmographer, journalist. I get it. He's trying to get his thing, and how
yeah.
much, but it's the comments. If you go to the comment section of the Fravor and the Lazar Joe Rogan, they're the best Jeremy Corbell memes ever.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I haven't done that.
That comment section is gold. None of them are even vicious. They're like, Jeremy Corbell is the kind of guy that like fills up his gas tank when it's already at like 90% full.
Yeah,
Corbell's the kind of person that actually hears out the telemarketer and like, well, no, sure, I've got a minute. But so
yeah.
episode 11. So I made some like shitty photoshops of like a giant rocket. I have a subreddit called Funner History. It has somehow ballooned to 20,000 people. I don't know how.
Oh,
I just make shitty photoshops, and it's like like a sphinx on the moon, and it's like, oh, this was scrubbed out, and you try to make it look like it's actually from that era. So you change
yeah.
the lighting, put some like wrinkles, decolor it. But so one of the ones I made was I just made like I made a giant rocket like 900 feet tall by SpaceX, and I called it the acronym was MTHRFCKR, motherfucker, and it was because Musk's huge like interplanetary one was going to be called the BFR, the Big Falcon Rocket, Big Falcon Rocket. Anyway, so I made this one where I was like, it's the motherfucker, it's the mass transport, whatever. But the inspiration was because I remember seeing the Sea Dragon. The Sea Dragon was an idea in like the 70s for something that was going to have 10 times the payload capacity of the Saturn V. And it was completely feasible. NASA looked into it. This thing was massive. It was like 500 feet tall. It was going to be launched at sea. It was just one big dumb rocket.
Mm.
Some guy on Reddit saw that and commented that, so this rocket was designed by, oh, God damn it. How am I forgetting his name? Oh, no. I'm forgetting his name. This is terrible. But he was Bob Truax, who was like a rocket, one of like the pioneers, not like 40s, 50s. He spearheaded like missiles on subs. He was like
I wonder if he was working with Von Braun or whatever.
probably
Or
no. He
in that club.
apparently he knew von Braun. He knew that he died in like 2010, but he
Oh,
knew von Braun. He knew Goddard. He knew like all like the heavy hitters of like rocket history.
mm.
But this guy that commented on Reddit was his protege. Worked with him at all these different companies way back in the day, and his name is Ken Mason. So I had on Ken's in his like I think 60s, and I had Ken on episode 11, and we just talked about the Sea Dragon. And this guy's a legitimate like rocket scientist, not my dumbass. He was just talking about all the different fuels, the specific impulses, and I was just like, "You're okay. You're fucking brilliant."
Right.
He is. So at one point, I bring up Bob Lazar, and I'm like, "What do you think about Bob Lazar?" He's like, "Oh yeah, Bob's a great guy." And I was just like, "Oh, you?" I was like, "You like his?" I was like, "You think?" I was like, "Oh, you like his theories too?" I was like, "They're sexy, aren't they?" And he's like, "Oh no, Bob's my friend." And I was like, "What?" He's like, yeah, you know, he's like, I have Bob's number. He was like, me and Bob used to hang out in New Mexico. We used to go out in the desert, shoot rockets off. So here's this guy that grew up like a rocket scientist, helped design shit for like Evil Knievel's rockets to get him over huge jumps and shit. A legitimate rocket scientist.
Right.
He knows. I think it was a guy named Tom Mueller, who I think is one of the top guys at SpaceX. He's like, oh yeah, no, I used to work with Tom Mueller. But so I emailed him afterwards. I was like, you know Bob Lazar? And he's like, yeah, no, Bob and I used to know each other. We used to go out. He'd have these festivals in the desert. We'd go out and shoot off our own rockets. And he's telling me all this shit again, just like almost very bored with it. And to me, that was just like, so there's another guy, and it's not this like sexy UFO thing, but what he's saying is like, no, Bob and I used to work with each other. Like we were at the same labs and stuff. But here's this brilliant guy, just like, no, yeah, no, Bob and I were, and this is like, he knew him like 10, 15 years before the whole S4 thing.
Oh, really?
So
Okay. So
why the
this was
fuck?
this at Los Alamos or even before that?
I think it was Lawrence Livermore, but it was,
Okay.
so and they worked at like companies. And to me, I'm like, well, why would this rocket scientist, this like 65-year-old guy, just be like, oh no, like what? Point is why would they be working together as rocket scientists 15 years before all of this shit?
Right.
Why does Bob Lazar know all that shit? Why
Yeah.
is he? And it's just like, oh no, Bob and I used to shoot rockets and stuff. So I was like, Ken, you got to get Bob Lazar on my podcast. And he was like, no, he's like, he hates talking about it. He absolutely hates talking about it. And I was like, I realized that I was being like a Jeremy Corbell. I realized I was like, how much of me like is gonna like break any new information on Lazar, and how much of me is like, you know, look at my trophy. And so I was like, all right, I'll stop pestering you. Point being is that's just like one more like, no, he did all this shit. He worked at these labs. He had these clearances, and not only that, I had heard in Garrett Graff's Raven Rock. I didn't know this, but the original, before it was called the Manhattan Project, Leslie Groves was in charge of, the Manhattan Project, but it was also referred to as S1, which makes me think was there an S2 and an S3, and it was Bob
Yeah.
Lazar just at S4. I don't know, that might be a stretch, but
Yeah. Well, I thought I heard George Knapp back in the Art Bell days. I thought I remember George Knapp telling Art Bell that he called. I don't know if it was the Nellis
he called
PR or
they
something like
said
that.
there
Yeah,
was,
and they verified that there was an S4 or something like that. So I
there
mean,
was an S4.
yeah,
I don't know, man. It gets
yeah,
fucking hairy. It gets
yeah. Which I mean, I don't know if verifying that there's a site for is actually groundbreaking. I don't
yeah,
think it's really telling of anything.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because I think S4 is just this huge sector,
yeah.
and that's what they told Bob. Hey, you're in S4.
Yeah.
Really, what that facility was, fuck knows. I don't know.
Maybe it was just, maybe it was the program S4.
Right.
But I don't know, man. It just, yeah. So is that the Tic Tac, and is that a cover for the B-21? What is the B-21? Is my sexy conspiracy is that the F-35 is not a $1 trillion program, but that we're funneling it into something, and it's just a doable, it's
It's
a
an
believable
interesting
front.
theory. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fat inept defense contractors, rah rah. We need to tighten the budget, small government, blah blah blah, and everyone's distracted. And it's
Yeah.
shoveling money.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a legacy fighter guy or something. I don't know. I see the F-35 and I'm like, oh man, I don't think it's gonna live up to the hype, But yeah, I that's an interesting theory. I'll have to think about that one.
Smoke
That's
screen.
yeah. You've got me curious now.
Yeah, that's what I think, man.
Yeah, it's possible. The B1 or the B-21. I don't know. Other than the sawtooth edging, and maybe some more advanced electronic countermeasures or whatever, there's not a whole lot different. So yeah, I don't know. I hope we have the Tic Tacs. You know,
Yeah, so do I.
I,
Yeah. What better way to test them than on your own Navy?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if the
Yep.
best Navy in the world can't detect it, then we're good.
Yeah, and
Dude,
and the F-117s are still flying too.
yeah,
They're out there.
yeah,
So,
dude.
I'm sure they're testing out new radars and stuff. So,
The beginning of. But I normally, before I start recording, I normally ask guests how long they want to go, so I don't keep them hostage, because I'll keep people hostage. I'm
uh,
trying to do that. So,
I don't care. I don't have much going on right now.
all
So,
right, word. I want to do like another, I don't know, 25 minutes, maybe.
I
Where are
don't
we
care.
at right now? Right, 50 minutes exactly. I don't know. Go to like an hour 15, hour 30. See if the alien memes are still flowing. Um, is What was I gonna say? So yeah, at the beginning of Skunkworks by Ben Rich, he talks about when they were testing the stealth, and they were out at like Groom Lake, and they had these radar guys there, and they had like a chase plane in the F-117, but they didn't tell them that they I think they only told them that like one of them was flying or something. The guys inside like the trailer for the radar were only aware that there's going to be one plane. Everyone outside obviously could see too, but they didn't tell them like what stealth was. What Ben Rich said was it's a box in the nose of the F-117. It's like a jamming thing, as opposed to saying it's like the actual structure,
Yeah, shape.
the geometry, the slopes of it, because it was so classified that like they lied about that to our own guys doing classified tests on it. And so
Right.
it comes over, doesn't get pinged, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" And like one of the guys was like, "Man, you got quite a like a mighty black box in there." And Ben Rich was like kind of like laughing to himself. He's like, "Sure do." But then the guys in the trailer were like, they were being all like, laughing because they're like, "Hey, sorry, Ben, we picked up your plane," and they're picking up the chase plane, but they're like, some guy comes running in, he goes, "Did you pick up the second one?" And they're like, "Second what?" They're like, "The other plane." And they're like, "No, like we're looking at one," and they're like, and that's when we knew stealth worked, because they're like, "Oh fuck." So,
Yeah.
but point being is they were lying even to the people conducting the test. They
Hmm.
brought like the best radar, like I guess I don't know anything, team, whatever, like the most elite unit, and they were like, try to detect our plane. And they were like, they were all ego, like, yeah, we detected it, but like you detected the chase plane, but you didn't detect our plane. So even with that, and then not saying it's due to the geometry, but rather it's a black box, it's a jamming device, that throws them off, obviously, because you don't know, you never know who's a double agent, who's in there leaking information. So you want to
Right. Yeah.
this info. Does that not kind of almost feel like the Tic Tac? Don't even let them know it's a test.
Right. Yep. Kind of real life scenario.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know enough for it.
But so here's another thing though too is where are they getting deployed from? Well, not I'm asking as an open question.
Yeah.
Obviously you don't know, but it's I mean, do we have a platform in orbit? Is it like a
Yeah.
X-37B or is it a fucking submarine? You know, or are the fucking crazies real? And there's like a hollow Earth or some shit where fucking aliens leave.
Jesus, man. If you get to that level, then it's like, well, then all bets are off. And
Right?
a tic tac is the
Yeah,
least of our worries,
yeah, yeah,
right? If that's true, then it's like, oh fuck, all hail the
yeah.
lizard people. I guess I don't know.
Right. I guess I'll have to start watching Ancient Aliens again.
Mhm. Write that down. Write that down. But
Right.
it,
Fucking Giorgio, whatever his name was, right.
yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. So there's another guy I have on the B-21 Raider guy, Paul Whitcomb, who's a lawyer that I had on, and he and I have just
He's a cool guy, by the way.
he's cool as fuck, dude. I had
Yeah.
him on the episode after Mike Durant because I saw him comment on Reddit. He was like some weird thing like serial killers, but it was like, yeah, well, yeah, no, I denied like the last bail like an hour before his like lethal injection. And I was like,
Mm,
I need you on my podcast. And
yeah.
so we started off with, in a way, he killed John Wayne Gacy. In a way, he did. But we started talking. It was like, that was a great episode. It was fucking hilarious. But at some point we started talking about like, I don't know, stealth or something. He's like, I love that shit. So I've had him on like 20 times since then. We just talk about we have all
Yeah.
the same interest in shit. He's fucking brilliant. Shout out Paul.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, he seems like a really nice guy, man. And I love he's got the Batman in the background and stuff.
yeah. No,
So, like
dude,
it's
I fucking love
my
him.
type of guy. Yeah,
Yeah, he fucking, and he's intelligent as shit. He's intelligent as
yeah,
shit. I listen to books on Audible, and he's always like, I need him on Kindle. And I'm like, oh, you're smart. You read. But I
right.
can't read, man. I can't count. But
Yeah.
he and I were talking. What were we talking about?
Oh, gosh.
B-21? No. Oh, dude. So anyway, but he's been sending me over the last couple weeks all these things that I haven't been paying attention to, but all these like unexplained fires in Iran, specifically at ballistic missile sites and nuclear sites. All these
Oh,
unexplained fires, and he keeps sending them to me, like different news sources, like every couple days. Here's another one. Here's another. These weird explosions rocking Iran, and just like Iran's not being open about it in the same way that, like, let's say UFOs are real. The U.S. government's obviously gonna not acknowledge them because that makes you look weak. You're not big bad Uncle Sam if you're like, oh, we're the best military in the world, except here are these things with impunity. It doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look strong.
right,
Makes it look,
right.
you can use that to your advantage by saying that's classified. Okay, what is classified? That it's an alien or that it's ours? That's classified. Okay, well now it makes Uncle Sam look badass, right? So,
Yeah.
what's the last thing Iran is gonna do? We have all these unexplained fires at our top secret sites, like, and we can't do anything about it. Like, bitch, like, no, you're not gonna, they're not gonna come out and say that. But I don't know. Is that the B-21? Is it cutting its teeth? Is it just
I don't know, man. Well, you said that you just sent out something today about
directed
how they're
energy?
pushing, direct energy weapons. So maybe, you know,
Yeah. By the time Lockheed Martin's posting that on YouTube,
yeah.
it's not gonna be like classified anymore, right?
Right, right. Maybe we got a satellite up there, like fucking Under Siege too, where it does like earthquakes and stuff.
Dude, that's my theory. My theory is, what is the ultimate end game? The ultimate
Yeah,
end game would be an orbital weapon system. So it's because, I mean, you got to remember the space station is 220 miles up. Seems really far, but in terms of like being
yeah. It's
being able to be 220 miles straight line, it's a lot
yeah,
closer than 8,000 miles to Vietnam. You're right over. You're 220. Go over
yeah,
Moscow. You're 220. Go over. So you're always right there. What would be a more enticing, absolute, no pun intended, trump card, ace up your sleeve, than to have a weapon system or whatever, a thousand miles, doesn't matter, because if it's going at the speed of light, 186,000 miles a second, which goes around the circumference of the Earth 7.5 times per second. So if you're just going
right.
220, for all intents and purposes, it's instantaneous. So right above instantaneous, and you can't stop it. What is a more ultimate end game weapon than that?
Yeah,
Directed energy, speed of light, always over you. Just have a ring of them. By the time that one's out of sight, the next one's there. I don't know. I don't know. It's
yeah. I don't know too. Sometimes I worry though that we got so caught up in I call them little wars, but they're not little wars, but the war on terrorism, we'll
Mhm.
say, Iraq, Afghanistan, that we started focusing too much on, insurgency and guerrilla warfare, that we kind of, I mean, the goal's still there, obviously, but we kind of lost the, ability in a way to do, strategic, large scale
Mm,
land, air, and space war. You
yeah,
know, I
yeah,
don't know. Because I mean, if you, I'm kind of getting off track of what we're talking about, but if you look at our equipment, it's getting old. I mean, dude, looking like the last like month and a half, and I don't know the exact situation for all of them, but all of our legacy aircraft have uh, crashed in one way or the other. I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know if it was just pilot error or if there was a malfunction or something. So who knows? But it's our stuff's getting older, so I question our ability to do large scale war. And um, so I guess I question whether or not we actually have stuff like that. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. There was a lot of weird ass shit going on, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s. So, um, and that's all we know about now. So I'm sure there's 30, 40, 50 years ahead of our time, hopefully. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We
I
go
don't
from
know.
prepping for a Soviet adversary, which was a competent threat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally went to space before us, both with unmanned and manned. And yeah, you're prepping for them for a nuclear holocaust, and you're going toe to toe. And that's how you get these crazy SR-71s. It's how you get like Minuteman missiles, stealth or nuclear subs. That's how you get all this crazy shit. F-117, because kind of like we said earlier, like happy with where the podcast is, but I always have my eyes on like,
Yeah.
cool, where I am now. I'm like, Rogan just
Yeah.
got signed for 1/10 of a billion. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna aim for 2/10 of a billion. Like, all right, like,
Right. Yeah.
but when you're not going against that adversary, and then said, yeah, not to diminish the wars. I have friends that fought in Iraq, and
Mm-hmm.
not to like diminish, say, a small war, but when you start getting caught up on how do we fight insurgency, how do we, how do we detect IEDs, how do we have like the weird microphone looking thing to get sniper
Which,
shots.
which I'm sorry to tell you, but as far as detecting IEDs, I got to tell you a real cool story, man.
Yeah, go for it. I don't give a shit. Go for it.
Yeah, I was in. We were out in Fallujah one night patrolling, and this is when I learned how badass our weaponry is, man. I was able to call in. I was an FO, forward observer, so I was able to call in some F-18s to have them go clear the routes before we were heading through the city to detect IEDs. I don't know if they were using their FLIRs or if they were using some. Well, I know they were using some jammers as well. They gave us a clear route and flew overhead for us when we were going. So it was really cool, man. I don't know. It just made me think of that. So
Did I just mute myself?
I think you did. Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was really cool, man. And yeah, I
Yeah.
love pilots, man. They're fucking cool.
Yeah. That's insane. I was thinking you were gonna say they just like strafe the area, because isn't that a thing? Isn't that like a way to like, clear mines? Is they shoot like tanks or something can shoot? It almost looks like a harpoon, and it's attached
Yeah,
to the cord.
yeah,
It goes way
yep,
out, and then just
yep,
Jesus Christ, just calling in.
yeah,
But yeah, so you get to a point where it's like that you've got the massive MRAPs with like the weird like rake things at the front, and
yeah,
it's and yeah, you're jamming signals. You got the weird microphone things, getting like picking up pot shots and stuff. But yeah, you're almost getting to a point where it's like, are we just getting caught up in like, it doesn't matter if you can master that battlefield. Okay, cool. How are you going to take on an actual adversary like China?
right, yeah.
They're not going to be
Not very
fighting.
well. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
I don't think we'd do very well.
it,
You know, I mean, I
yeah.
don't know.
It's not where we should be.
Right.
It's almost like the idea of like, well, why would we fake a moon landing like other than propaganda? And no, I think we went, but just for enticing that theory. Okay, you don't even need to go with the conspiracy theory. Why did we go to the moon? Why did we spend so much money going to the moon? Well, because if it's a real weapon, if you can, doesn't matter if all we did was go put a flag up there. If that
Yeah.
bankrupts the Kremlin because they're gonna try to do it with shitty Soviet technology, well, then that
Yeah.
is more effective than a nuke. Get them to drain their bank, right?
Yeah.
Shit, man, what would be the ultimate weapon against the U.S.? Get us involved in Iraq, get us involved in a quagmire where we're going to dump trillions of dollars trying to
Right.
master desert warfare.
Yeah.
Jesus, man, maybe that all goes back to China. Who knows, man? Like, what's a better weapon? Get us involved in there while they start
Yeah.
building islands in the South China Sea.
Yeah. Exactly. Kind of. Lead us dry on money, man.
Yeah.
So I wonder too, and I don't know. I don't know enough about it to know if there's a correlation or not. But the Soviet Union collapsed not long after they were out of Afghanistan. And they spent a shit ton of money there too, didn't they? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
long
yeah.
for them.
80s. This
So
is
I
their
mean,
Vietnam. Oh,
yeah. So I
Jesus.
don't know. And
Maybe.
when we left Vietnam, our economy wasn't as bad as it was
No.
these days. I don't think
No.
so. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's But not to be all doom and gloom. I think we still got some badass stuff out there,
So do I.
and
It's odd that we're so public about the B-21, and I mean Lockheed Martin literally announced in 2013 that they're working on the SR-72.
yeah, and then was it the 2037 bomber or the B-21 that was supposed to have an unmanned capability as well?
B-21 is going to have an unmanned capability.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
2037 is, I don't know what that is. It's not really, not that I just,
off the radar.
it's just not that I just don't know enough. I don't know what it seems like. It's maybe seems like a futuristic replacement for like the B-52, but I don't know enough about it. Part of me thinks that like 2037 bomber is just the B-21. I don't know, because they're so, I don't know. What do you know about it? Because I realized
I don't know anything about the 2037 bomber.
damn it, Josh.
But as far as the B-21, I mean, dude, that has to have been flying for a long time now.
Yeah.
It has to have been. I mean, there's no way. When did they just announce it? It hasn't been long.
Like the last 2 years, I want to say.
Yeah, and they're talking about rolling it out. I don't know, pretty soon.
They're talking about they think they said, I posted on Special Access a couple weeks ago. There's I think the Air Force said that they were going to deploy it to the South China Sea within the next year.
Yeah. So you were going from development to fucking operational.
Yeah. That's what Paul Whitcomb said. He was like, when did we start like announcing shit before it was even ready?
Right.
We're developing an F-117, like, get ready, bitches. Like, no. That was whisper quiet. We were actually going to go send it to, I think, take out like Gaddafi or something in like the late 80s, and the Secretary of Defense, Caspar Weinberger, actually called it off at the last minute because he put the value of that below the value of putting the F-117 out onto, I guess, foreign skies, knowing that the Russians would somehow or another, they would get the information that it existed.
They used it in Panama, did they?
I don't know. Probably. If I could find out.
I thought they used the F-117 in Panama.
Point being is they were literally like, I would rather have us send in less stealth or unstealthy planes and risk not getting Gaddafi than get him at the risk of, because it was just a quantum leap. It was, I mean, stealth was the biggest single time leap since getting the A-bomb. It was,
well, that makes me think too, is so the U.S. right now, they're threatening to pull out the F-35s out of Britain somewhere because of China putting in 5G. They're worried that it might pick up some of the stuff from the F-35. So.
You need to read, or when I say read, listen, audiobook. China's Stealth War by Brigadier General. What's his first name? Spalding. His last name is Spalding.
Oh,
Brigadier General Spalding used to be the head briefer to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on CCP military movements, and he was a B-2 Spirit pilot. He wrote this book like 3 or 4 years ago. It's called China's Stealth War. And it's about China creeping up. One of the things he talks about, though, is like the incredible threat of 5G. And now I'm like, God damn it, even that's real? Like, that's, 5G is like, oh yeah, and the earth is flat. Like, fuck out of here with your bad conspiracies. But here's this guy going, yeah, no, that's a major threat. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it is true. But that book will scare the fucking shit out of you, dude.
Yeah, but so, and not to keep harping on China, but
China.
Right.
No,
right.
No, do not.
We worry about them spying on us, right? But if you look for the last 20 fucking years, the U.S. has basically molded us to be able to conform with being spied on.
I know.
So it's no wonder that people don't give a fuck now. Was it the Huawei or whatever whatever it? People don't give a shit. They want it.
Yeah. It's not like when the Pentagon came out and was like, yeah, it's when they were like, that's actually a very good point. The Pentagon came out a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know. It's all blurring together. They're like, TikTok is stealing your information. You might want to delete the app.
So are you. So is
Yeah,
Google.
it's
You
like,
know, it's
literally, so is fucking Imgur. Like, who is it?
yeah,
Fuck out of
yeah,
here. Like, TikTok's stealing. That's what happens when you just dragnet spy on everyone. You can't all of a sudden go like clutch your pearls and be like, TikTok's taking your information.
right,
Oh,
yeah,
Snowden was 7 years ago. This is old news.
yeah,
It's, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I guess the biggest. Let's wrap this bitch up in 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to get that alcohol drink to sponsor me. I'm gonna call them Fat Cock.
I was gonna ask you about sponsorships, man. Have you had any luck with that?
No, man. You got to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube for them to monetize you, meaning that they'll play the whatever shitty little ads. You know, it's directed at whoever's watching, where they are, what their history is. But
Yeah.
I've been, and I hate saying this because it sounds like such a defeatist bitch ass attitude. Well, now we're gonna have to do more than 5 minutes because I'm gonna get riled up. Is I hate saying like, you know, I hate being like, oh, like my channel's being like censored, because like it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like it's not that like the world is against you, it's just that you suck. Kind of like that's like that motto, like no one cares, work harder. I've always hated the idea of like, oh, the reason why my channel isn't taking off is because I'm being censored. And it's like, you might just suck, dude. Like, you know, that's the reality.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have not taken that seductive idea until the last couple days, where I have literally watched people at work. I've literally watched people with my eyes subscribe to my channel. 10, 20 people, and it's gone up 2. And so now I'm like, motherfucker. Like, I'm battling for every subscriber. But now I'm hearing people like, one of my friends was at like a bachelor party. He's like, yeah, man, I don't. He's like, I just got all my bros to subscribe. And I was like, let me know when they do. He's like, no, they did. I was like, no, they didn't. And he was like, no, I watched. And I was like, motherfucker. So,
Hmm.
and the counter argument is like, dude, your podcast has 400 subscribers. You're not PewDiePie or Joe Rogan. There's no one like, how are we going to address this at Google headquarters? You're right. No, they're not. What they do is they instantly transcribe every video before it's even uploaded. That's what the processing period is. Once they transcribe it, and that's easy, that's just AI, just goes through because closed captions. Well, then they also scan it for fucking wrong thing. Now I'm sitting here with the goddamn American flag. I got white skin and blue eyes. I'm a straight white male. Jesus Christ, I'm the worst possible thing YouTube could possibly have, right? I'm not disabled. I'm from middle upper class. Like, I am Satan to them. But so to answer your question, no, I haven't found a way to get monetized. So I realized that today, going for a walk, I was like, you know what? I can either like, woe is me, I'm not going to get monetized. Well, what the fuck is that going to get you? It's okay, cool. You know, it's all right, cool. Woe is me, I can't be monetized. Big tech is censoring. Like, really, that's going to be the thing that stops me? Not losing a sibling, not almost killing myself, not everything that you can't do it. No, fuck that. So
Be a bitch about it, right?
exactly. I was like, grab your fucking nuts, and I was like, I'm gonna find someone to sponsor this. Early Rogan podcast. Who is he sponsored? Brought to you by the Fleshlight. Exactly. And now he can have literally can affect presidential elections, and just got signed for $100 million. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just need to call Fat Cock. Just be like,
get that fat cock, man.
I'm getting that fat cock. Hey, I'll do it for capitalism. How'd you make your money? Well, I just sucked it up and I took the fat cock.
Right.
It's
I bent over and took the big fat cock.
Bent over and took the big fat cock, available in three flavors. But yeah, so I think I'm just gonna start calling people and be like, yo, will you sponsor my? I had one company that kind of did it. It's called Bucked Up, fucked up. It's called Bucked Up. It's like an energy drink. And that was cool. And like, I like that they didn't give a shit. And they're like, I can't have any like hatred in my heart for someone that like takes it. This was like 3 months ago and I had like 100 subscribers. So like, shout out to them. But it was also like, all right, you know, you give us like a shout out and like, here's your promo code, whatever, TPC. And if you go there and you buy whatever, you get 20% off. And then I would get a cut of that. But like, I don't like that because if no one buys anything, I don't get anything. What I need to get like paid per I'll read your fucking thing. You pay me. If no one buys your shit, I don't want that to be on me. That just, okay, fuck your product. I don't give a shit. Like, I just want to be able to. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. Is I'm not gonna try to do like promo code shit because I'm not gonna be their salesman. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Right, yeah, and just don't take a cut. You know what I mean? Just get a flat fee for every time you.
That's what I'm gonna do. And I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing, so I'm just gonna start cold calling some companies today, and just see what happens. But you got to start. I mean, I'm just gonna start very small. I mean, is the flashlight still a thing? Maybe I can get this Rogan shirt still have them. Maybe I'll just pick them up again. But
I don't know.
go for fat cock. I think. I mean, I imagine like breweries. One of my friends who like worked at NASA and JPL. He was on here a couple times, Warren, but now he's basically, this kid's fucking brilliant, and he's a Georgia Tech grad. Literally worked at JPL and NASA, but he said like fuck all those defense contracting like lucrative gigs. He's building meme sat, a CubeSat that just is gonna beam memes. That's it. But his goal is he's like, I'm sending memes to goddamn space. And if you ask him why, I've asked him even off the podcast, like off the record, just like FaceTiming. And he's like, dog, I just want to send memes to space. And I'm like, there is no Bob Lazar. It's like, there's no line. You look at him, you're like, oh my God, this is literally what
He just wants to fucking do this. Yeah.
basement. And he's literally like, yeah, you see like the rafters. He's like, dog, I'm literally just like, my girlfriend's very not happy with me at all. But I was like, I'm sending memes to space. Why? Because I want Pepe coming through the clouds. Like, so
Right.
like
That's taking your meme dealer to a whole new level right there.
Exactly. That man is posting from orbit. So that's what he's doing. And so I texted him that this morning. I was like, dog, I'm getting censored. And he FaceTimed me. He's like, dude, find some breweries, find some places that have like good senses of humor that are not politically correct, that don't give a shit. Now you can't get like Budweiser or Keystone. Like, you gotta just get some tiny brewery that doesn't give a fuck. They own their whole thing. They don't have to apologize to cancel culture. He's like, you just gotta find them, man, and just, it's just, you just gotta bullshit it, don't have like a polish. Hi, I'm Tommy Kerrigan from TP. Just be like, hey, what's up, man? I need some fucking money. I live above my parents' garage. Like, so that's to answer your question. I don't know. Today is the day that I'm taking a less conventional approach to sponsorships. Like, because up until now, it's been once I get to 1,000, I can get monetized, and now I'm like, I'm not sure I trust these fucking communist motherfuckers, let alone to monetize me. And so now I'm just gonna, do I wait, or do I go and do it myself? Fuck waiting. And that's kind of
go and get it yourself, man. It's this whole censorship thing on YouTube, and man, it's fucking weird. Dude, I mean, I think there's some fucking weird people out there, some nut jobs. Hey, man, you're allowed to believe whatever you want, and I should be able to watch your shit and then, think for myself and form my own opinion.
Yeah.
Well, it's
if you want to march around town with a fucking Nazi flag saying racial slurs, that is your freedom to do it. You're also
I think you're an asshole, but you're free to do it.
You're an asshole, but you're free to lose all your friends and not get laid and not private companies let you into your store. That's your freedom too. Just like as being kind of being a hypocrite to what I'm saying, I think YouTube should be free to censor whoever they want. I think they're a private company. I think that they should be free to die, like MySpace, like Dig, like all those things, because enough people are eventually going to get sick of it. And shadow banning's real, man. You just can't find shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just don't think I'm going to wait on that. I started uploading to BitChute.
Yeah, what's the alternative to YouTube? I know
BitChute, BITCHUTE,
mm-hmm.
BitChute or BitchOot, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Depends if you have a 5-year-old sense of humor. BitchOot, but there's BitChute, there's DTube, which is, I don't fully understand it. BitChute is their entire thing is just no censorship. It's just but point being, there's BitChute, there's DTube, there's Vimeo, there's VEOH, which it's really sketchy. It's the equivalent of like Rogan getting sponsored by the Fleshlight. You go there and it's just all these pop-ups like, you won't last 5 seconds playing this game. It's just clearly porn. And you're like, why am I here? But like, you can upload, those are all separate companies though. And so that's what I started doing. It took me like a month, but I just uploaded my whole library to each. I just literally always have like 5 uploading on my computer, and just none of them are big enough. I think BitChute is probably the biggest alternative. Daily Motion, but you can't upload more than 60 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not splicing my videos.
Right.
But there are a handful: BitChute, DTube, Vimeo, VO, and I think there's another one I haven't written down. PeerTube. I think there's one called Library, LBRY. There are alternatives, and the only way, you look at them and you're like, but those are all so tiny. YouTube's got 2 billion users. It's got everything, but
Yeah.
it's never gonna grow if everyone just keeps going, it's so tiny. Well, eventually you gotta just make a move. And
Sure.
I think Rogan going to Spotify exclusively, or at least starting next year, that's gonna leave a huge void. I don't know, man. I think it's good. Hopefully more people start going to other places, because YouTube has a complete monopoly on it, and they can do whatever they want. And it is completely censored. It's censored as fuck. And it's completely tailored. They deliver whatever message they want. This is trending. Really? That's really the one trending? You're not just putting that there?
Yeah, man. And the recommendations that pop up for me are fucking weird. Like it used to be like, you know, I don't know, I'm watching fucking Alex Jones on Rogan or something. Then I don't know, something else related to that, like Stephen Greer would pop up next.
Yeah.
Which he's a fucking nut job. But anyway, just throw that out there. What's that?
It's so entertaining.
Stephen Greer.
I'm with you. I think he's a nut.
Yeah.
But God damn it, if I don't eat up that sweet UFO, he's selling me.
Oh yeah.
He's telling me I want to believe. He knows I want to believe. But
I'll listen to him, but I just don't believe him.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Anyway, where was I going? I was going on a tangent.
YouTube recommendations.
Oh yeah, dude, it's just it's fucking weird, man. And then when the COVID shit happened, then it got really fucking crazy. There was one of those doctors out in California or something like that who were spitting off statistics, and they censoring them or something. I don't know. It's fucking weird, man. I don't know.
They got, dude. It's just, and they're slowly just moving it. They're just normalizing it. Hate speech. I got banned from Our Politics the other day for hate speech. I didn't say any. Someone it was like someone posted some picture where they like drove their bike around. They have like a GPS, and they drove so it spelled out like "fuck Trump" over New York. Hey man, I'll commend the effort. I respect hard work, Well, but whatever way so I just made some comment. I was like, man, if you just replace that with Biden, this would be censored. That's all I said, which is true. It would be. Or it's like and again, not even trying to make like a political argument. I just said that. And I got a message that said you have been banned for hate speech. So the point is you are now going from hate speech starts good. Yeah, you can't yell racial slurs at people on our website. All right, yeah, sure. It sounds good enough, right? Hate speech. But now it's, sure enough, what is hate speech? No, well, now who's dictating hate speech? What did I say that was hate speech? You don't get an explanation, because if you respond to that, you get muted.
Yeah. Well, if you're not a part of the hive mind or the echo chamber.
Exactly. It's I don't know, man. It's
I don't like when we lose the ability, and not the ability, but I don't like it when we get, I don't know if reprimanded is the right word, but looked down upon for questioning things, or not. Since when did that become a bad thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're a biologist, right? So in the science world, aren't you supposed to fucking question things?
Yeah. Yeah. Science doesn't give a fuck.
Right. Isn't that why they do peer-reviewed or papers, to say, hey,
fuck about your feelings,
Right.
You can burn all the astronomers you want at the stake during the Inquisition. Doesn't make the Earth any less round. Doesn't make us revolve around the sun any slower. It's still all there. Science doesn't give a fuck. And it's hate speech. Shut it down. Like, suppress it. It's just, it feels more. I can't go on Reddit, man. Every day I just see all those gas fucking awards at the top of every goddamn Trump bad 90 bajillion. Looks like a 4-year-old girl bedazzled it, and
Yeah.
I hate Reddit. I like special access, but
Yeah.
yeah, you got to find the gems. But
Yeah.
so instead of, I don't know, now I'm looking at it like what I need to do is, regardless of whether or not, so I'm not going to bank on YouTube for money anymore. That was my goal, but I realized I'm like, oh, I'm not some like politically correct, you know, content producer and get my money. I'll take the fat cock, but I can't suck the censorship dick, man. I just can't. It's my ancestors would be ashamed. It's
I'll take fat cock any day over censorship.
I'll take
Right.
fat cock over communist cock any day, motherfucker. It's like, dude, my great uncle Rich was on goddamn Omaha Beach when he was 18 years old. I figure this is like, my battle is much easier. I'll take the fat cock.
Right.
But but it's, so what I've realized is like, all right, regardless of what the number says, 473 subscribers as of June 22nd, 2020, 1:26 p.m. Eastern time, is, regardless of what that says. So it says 473. Let's say it's actually at 1,000. Say it's at 5,000. Say it's at 1,000,000. As much as it's wishful thinking to just think that it'll all be fixed. That's never worked for anyone. So regardless of what that number says, there are people watching it. There are people listening to it. There are people paying attention to it and spreading it. So
Mhm.
if I watch 20 people subscribe and are now watching it, it doesn't matter that the number doesn't reflect that. It'd be good for my ego, but it doesn't matter, because the reality is, if there are now 20 people watching it, that means that sure enough, that if they recommend it to people, and it can keep going, it can be thousands. It's going to get to a point where you could write it only has one subscriber. But if in the real world there are millions of people listening,
Yeah.
you can only keep that, you can only plug so many holes in the dam.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and you're only looking at subscribers on YouTube though, right? Like you're not, so I'm subscribed to your YouTube, and but I also I also subscribe to you on Podcast Addict. I'm a
I don't
huge,
get any of that shit. Yeah, I have no idea.
right. So,
No
you
idea.
know, I think I just happened to see when I did it. I mean, you know, you do have some subscribers on there. I think it's not many, but you
I
know,
don't.
what I'm saying is there's other platforms that I don't know if you monitor that or not,
No,
or
I
if you're able to see the downloads or something that
no,
you
I
get.
don't. I didn't even know there are subscribers for podcast apps. I just,
Yeah.
it's, so the way I look at it is like, I think I'm only seeing what's above water, and it's like an iceberg. Like, I don't know what vines are, what roots are taking hold somewhere else. So like, if there are this many people listening, it's gonna break somewhere. It doesn't matter if it's BitChute or DTube or some site that doesn't exist yet, right? It will, if the content is there, it's entertaining, there are interesting guests, and you listen to it, it doesn't matter. If even Rogan says he gets censored. Well, it doesn't matter. Now Spotify signed him. Fuck off, YouTube. And Spotify's not stupid. They're a private company. They saw him and they're like, he is worth this much money. YouTube censoring the fuck out of him, but we know there's this much money in this. So I'm just looking at it now, like, you know what? Fuck them. I need to make this a revenue source on my own, which to me is the most important part, because that means that I can just do this all the time. Meaning it's not like I gotta get it in there before or after I go to work. It's everything I mentioned: reading audio, listening to audiobooks, doing all this shit, preparing for podcasts, getting guests. If I turn this into money, that means I can do this all the time, and I'm not going to get lazy. It just means I'm going to turn it from 10 to 11. So
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, man. There's some quote where it's like, truth is like a lion. All you need to do is let it out of the cage. The lion will then defend itself. You don't need to protect the lion. You just got to let it out of the cage. But then the lion's
Yeah.
going to rip everyone's fucking face off. You don't. We got to protect it. It's going to fucking kill everyone, including.
Right. But the line will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Or another quote. The truth is a perfect fabric. It is seamless. It has no missing pieces, no missing edges. You can block it out as long as you want, but it is always a perfect thing. Like, the earth is always round. You can kill everyone you want. You can go on inquisitions and jihads and crusades. It eventually is going to come out, right? So, I don't know, man. That's how I'm looking at it. I just gotta find sponsors now, because if I bend over and just I can't make money, well, then it would have a really very real effect. If I just quit and go, okay, well, I can't make money now, well, then they win, and fuck them. I will not let them win. It's 1:30. I've kept you much longer than I said I would. So let's wrap this bitch up.
Time, man.
But
I'm rooting for you, dude.
Woo! Yeah, dog. Send it to friends, dude. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them that they're a communist sympathizer if they don't. And yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do another one, man.
Yeah. Hey, let me know.
Okay, start your own goddamn podcast. Do not wait, dude. Don't wait.
I will, dude. I'm gonna I'll get in touch with you here probably within the next couple of days, and I would like to, if it's okay, piggyback this episode as kind of like a first inaugural.
Literally, I think you can. If you start your own channel, you'll get like YouTube Studio, which is basically you can go like behind the scenes and look at everything. Yeah. You can download episodes from there. So, wait, but you didn't upload this, so actually I don't know how you do it. You can find a way to download this.
Yeah, I'm sure
use your brain. Download it, upload it, man. This can be your first episode. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck at all.
Sounds good, man.
Do it. Don't wait, man. You said a couple days. No, just fucking start. Just start. It's highly personal. Only you can know what's going to be good for yours. Don't wait on a name. Don't wait on the right guest. I didn't have a microphone until episode 50. I actually didn't have I had a rocking chair until episode 50. I didn't have a backdrop until like 95. Just start. Just fucking start.
I like it.
All right, man. Thanks for doing it, buddy.
Yeah. Right. See you, man.